Okay, guys, we got a couple cops here. I seen them when they lit this car up. Why is he opening the passenger door? I don't know what he was getting them for, if they were speeding or what, but I wonder why he opened the passenger door. It sounds like there's a baby in the back. He said, "Do you have an ID on you?" He asked, "Do you have an ID on you?" Is he asking the passenger or the driver? If he's asking the passenger for an ID, I'm wondering why. The passenger wasn't driving. Why is he going through the back of the car over here? Why is he asking the passenger for an ID? It's the driver that got stopped. When do they ID passenger? Unless he's looking for a valid driver. But normally you don't ask the passenger for a driver unless they're on probation or parole. Passengers don't have to ID if they're not committing a crime, unless it's on probation or parole. And they're on the prowl tonight. After this, I'm going to go home and shower. I haven't showered yet, and I'll come back out here for you guys. It looks like they're on the prowl tonight. Something just happened at a Valaro, and I was getting ready to look on the media website to see what kind of call they responded to. I have an idea it's going to be assist other agency or other agency assist. Somebody posted on Facebook and said there was an ambulance and police at the Valaro down at Wildwood Canyon in California. And before I could get down there, 3 cop cars came by me. So I said, fuck it. So I came over here. Yeah, turn off your light. So he turned on his white light. No, he went back to red. Red light district. So then I saw them over here, and then he lit up this car. But I'm wondering why he asked the passenger for ID unless they're on probation or parole. But if it's just because he wanted to run the passenger, you know, people don't know their rights. People think you have to give it up when a cop asks. And I used to be part of that crowd. Then I got educated. You know, that if you're a passenger in a car, unless you're on probation or parole, okay, I don't even know if there is a passenger yet. I'm still looking. It might be just, no, is there a passenger? No, I think there's just a driver. Okay, so I could be mistaken. Okay, maybe there's just a driver in there. So maybe he just asked for the driver's ID. I will stand corrected. It's hard to see. There's a shadow in the car, and it looks like there is a passenger. I guess it is the driver. So he's pulling the driver out now. So it is a driver. There's no passenger. So I will stand corrected. There's no passenger. But for any of you that have been watching, now you're educated. That if you're a passenger in a car, you don't have to ID unless you're on probation or parole or suspected of committing a crime or have committed a crime. So, but I do stand corrected on this vehicle. There's no passenger. It's just a driver. Something's wrong with the driver's side of his car, the driver's door, so he had to climb out on the passenger side. But the way the cop was standing there like that, the sergeant was just right there, I thought he was talking to somebody in the passenger seat. So that's an error. I stand corrected. He was actually talking to the driver. He's putting on his jacket. Yeah, it's a little cold out here. So, Sergeant. Okay, we have a relative over here, I think, a friend or relative. So he asked her to come over here, or she has a question. So I'm kind of standing here so that I'm not filming the driver as much. I am filming the cop. If something, happens, or if he goes up to the guy and starts patting him again, I'll record that. But this really isn't about the driver. It's about the police being held accountable. And it's not because I think these are bad cops or they're going to do something bad, it's because cops do bad stuff. And they need to be held accountable. Cops watch us and they enforce broken laws, and sometimes they enforce laws that aren't being broken, and they push their authority on the law-abiding citizens exercising constitutionally protected activities. But the question remains, who polices the cops? Who watches the cops? That's what I'm out here for, Community Leo Watch. If nobody had their body camera on when that old man was pulled out of his house in, where was that again? I forget now. But if nobody had their body cams running, it would be whatever the cops said. And the cops lied on body camera. As you guys, if you saw the video, you go back and watch the video, you find out it's nothing like the cop said. So that's why I'm recording, guys. And for all you law enforcement officers that are watching this video, that's the only reason I'm recording. It's not because I want to see these cops do something bad. I really don't want to see any cops do anything bad. But they continue to do so. It's not because I want to get a reaction from them. They're grown men. These are both men look like they're over 21. If they react a certain way or act a certain way, they're over 21. They make their own decisions. I'm not doing anything but standing here with look at this. What I'm doing, I'm just standing here like this, guys, with messed up hair. I need to fix my hair. But I'm just standing here with my camera and my microphone. That's all I'm doing. But let's say, for instance, the cop gets mad and says, "Come with me," and the guy pulls his arm back a little and goes, "Why? What are you doing?" And the cop throws him on the ground and jumps on his back and handcuffs him and says, "I told you," or whatever. Just out of the blue. It happens nationwide every day. Happens in California too. So at that point, the cop could say, "Well, he swung on me," or "he was resisting me." And here I am going, "No, I have it on camera. He just asked what was going on and you threw him on the ground." Yeah, he resisted a little, but it was a reaction. Sometimes it's a reaction. You grab somebody's arm and pull them forward. Yeah, sometimes it's just a physical reaction, or like when you hit someone's knee with a rubber hammer and their foot, swings up. Same thing. You grab somebody's arm and go to pull them on the ground. They go, "Whoa, what?" And they lean back a little. And you have to tell them, "No, hold on. Here's what I want you to do." But some cops don't understand that. And they just jerk the guy around and blam on the ground, And it's like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? Because cops don't understand, physical reaction, human reaction. Like unconscious reaction. Is that what they call it? Unconscious reaction? Like the knee thing where you hit someone on the knee bone and their foot swings. Same thing when you grab their arm and go to pull them on the ground. It's just a natural reaction to lean back a little and go, "Whoa, what are you doing?" But anyway, I digress. So that's why I'm recording, in case something like that were to happen and the cop wanted to, lie about it. But it's a two-way street. Look, I'm an accountability activist as well. So if this guy swings right now and punches the cop in the mouth, and then the guy wants to sue the cop and says, "Well, he was pushing me against the car and he kneed me in the balls and I hit him in the mouth," my camera will show that, no, he was standing there talking to you and you swung on him. It's a two-way street. I'm not going to lie on cops with my camera just because I hate them. If a cop messes up, he's going to be held accountable. But if someone else messes up on a cop for no reason, he's going to be held accountable too. And I have to be that way. Otherwise, I'm what you call two-faced. Otherwise I'm not a real accountability activist. I'm just a cop hater. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So if we're going to be accountable if we're going to hold officers accountable to their actions, we have to hold everyone accountable to their actions. Otherwise we lack this thing called integrity. Okay? And I'm talking about actions, not reactions. I'm talking about, if a cop turns and just starts cussing at me right now saying, get your ass back, get back, I'm like, whoa, dude, I'm just standing here. What the fuck? If I flip him off and say, shove it up your ass. Well, that's a reaction because I wasn't doing anything wrong. And the cop just all of a sudden started enforcing his authority upon a law-abiding citizen doing a constitutionally protected activity. I have credentials on as well. I have my So, I know some people say, or a lot of people have told me, I don't need these, that the First Amendment is my credentials. That is true. But the reason I wear this is if a cop does go off on me, it's an extra slap in his face that, dude, I've got news credentials around my neck, you dumb shit. I'm a journalist. I was trying to think of the word. Independent journalist, activist. Freelance, that's what I was thinking of. I'm a freelance journalist activist. Those are credentials. I'm a lifetime member of the International Freelance Photographers Organization, IFPO. And some of our brothers and sisters in the IFPO have worked NFL football games, NASCAR races, political campaigns, political rallies, Hollywood entertainment events. So it's not just this credential here isn't just some silly badge that I got. If I really wanted to push it a little, I can apply to work at huge events and put that I'm an IFPO freelance photographer or freelance journalist. And there's a number on here. I give them the code, and they enter it into a website, and it shows that I'm a lifetime member of IFPO. So I'm literally credentialed. He keeps dropping his stuff, and the cop's making him pick it up. He said, I have something. Just to let you know, I have something. I couldn't hear what he said, and he patted his pocket. So he said he has something in his pocket. Why does he keep pointing to his pocket? Dude, shut up. You don't have to tell him all that. He already patted you down. He keeps saying, I have something, and he's pointing at his pocket. He said, just to let you know. Maybe he was talking, he's going to do a field sobriety test. It wasn't his pocket. He was saying he had something wrong with his leg. He's saying that he has something wrong with his leg. Just to let you know, okay, because he's going to do a field sobriety test. We'll go ahead and record this for accountability. Yeah, he's talking about the camera, and the cop's telling him, don't worry about that. So I'm going to swing a little bit so that he can't really see my camera, but I can still see the cops. So, because it's really not all about him, it's about the cops. But if he gets arrested for suspicion of DUI, again, we're not saying he's guilty, but I am saying that anybody that gets handcuffed for DUI, I have no sympathy for if they're found guilty later, because people die because of DUI drivers. Okay? I have no sympathy I have zero tolerance for DUI drivers, and that includes myself. I don't drink and drive. After I got married, my whole life changed. I used to drink and drive, but I got married, I got older. You get older, you start choosing your battles more carefully. But once I got married and I have stepchildren, it's like, you know what? I need to wise up. So I do not drink and drive at all. And I do not care for people that do. Not even myself. But I don't do it because I can't afford to. I have responsibility. But not only that, the more important reason, it kills people. So, update on the little Bambino, the little Community Leo Watch. An update, we lost the baby. So she's not going to have a baby. She lost it. Well, and it had a lot to do with her inner body, because she had an aneurysm from her bypass. She had one of those bypasses where they put a band on there and you can only eat a little bit of food. A gastric bypass. She had one of those and she had a metal band put around it. It caused an aneurysm squeeze and some things with her pancreas. So that caused some medical complications, and so she lost the baby. It's my first ever biological child. But, life goes on. Life goes on, I guess. So, is he refusing to do the FST? I know I talk a lot. If you guys don't like it, you are allowed to mute and just watch the video. You are allowed to mute. I'm very verbose, very loquacious. Yeah, he's doing a lot of talking, but he's not doing a lot of FST and a lot of police calisthenics. And a lot of times law enforcement officers don't like you to stand behind them. I don't care about that, and I'll tell you why. Because when they're out here on the street, they're going to have pedestrians walk by. They're going to have cars drive by. They're going to have people coming out of the store over here. We've got a couple people coming up the sidewalk right now. So, there are people around. Now, if I walk up 5 or 8 feet behind them, okay, I get it a little bit. Hey, don't, because even me, I'm not a cop, but I don't like people standing behind me either. I'm like, dude, I just turn and look at people. Like when I'm recording the cops and somebody on the sidewalk will stop behind me, I'll move literally a little bit so that he's not or she's not behind me. I don't like people standing behind me either. But at this distance, I'm not going to run up and punch the cop in the back of the head or stab him in the rib. Why would I do that? So sometimes I think the police fail to apply common sense to their scenarios. They just say, well, I don't like people behind me. That's my rule. Well, that's a fucking stupid rule, because you're out here on the street. You work on the street. There are other people on the street, So that's a dumb rule. But I can definitely empathize with having people like within a few feet behind you. I don't like that either. I get nervous. I've learned to grow eyes in the back of my head. But I've seen people at this distance I'm at now where cops have said, hey, I don't want you standing behind me. Why is he shining his light over there? Oh, they went up the street. The sergeant shined his flashlight. I wonder what he was doing. I thought those 2 people stopped at the bus stop. They're way up there by the donut shop. Or not donut shop. They closed the donut shop. It's now a Mexican drive-thru. It's, what is it? I can't see the name. Alberto's, I think. I think that's the new Alberto's. I know I do have people from Yucaipa that watch these videos. I've had them come up to me. I don't hate our police department. I just won't tolerate people coming to our city and bullying the homeless or me for just recording. So I understand that we do have homeless people here that steal stuff from people's yards. They steal vehicles. They rob businesses. Sure. But that's not all of the homeless. Some of them come here because they just want to get out of the fucking city where they can find a nice warm place to sleep for the night without having to get robbed. You know what I mean? Like in San Bernardino or Fontana. And not only that, a lot of them will say this is the end of the bus line. Like they get on the bus at the jail and the bus ends here in Yucaipa because it's the last city in the county, San Bernardino County. And then what it'll do is flip around and go back to like Fontana or Rancho Cucamonga. So this is the last city on the bus line in our county. So a lot of people ride the bus down to the last city and then they'll say, final stop. And then they'll get off here. But again, I digress. What I was talking about was that's why I record our police here in Yucaipa, because I don't want them bullying the homeless that aren't criminals. They're just, like that car wash down there. Some of them have tried to go up there. It's this nice little overhang. The wind is blocked by the building itself. So they can sit up against the building and cover themselves with a sleeping bag and stay warm. And the cops will come, search their backpacks, search their bags, and then run them off. And I'm like, what the... this is America, right? We're supposed to be free in America. I mean, the business is closed. They're not trying to break in. They're not trying to rob. They're just sitting against the wall trying to get out of the wind and stay warm. And the cops will come run them off after searching their bags to make sure they don't have drug paraphernalia. While I get the thought process behind that, it's still a Fourth Amendment civil rights violation to be secure in your persons and property in America, and the right to freely travel and just sit against a building in the middle of the night. In the business, before the business opens in the morning, they're usually packed up and walking up the street again. But the cops will come run them off and search their stuff. And I've actually come up with my camera and started filming and had the police look at me and then go, all right, get out of here. Go. And then get in their car and drive off because of my camera. So I'm not out here to hate the cops. I'm not out here to record the police in a bad light and put them on YouTube. Again, both these gentlemen are over 21 years old. If they do something bad, I think they're old enough to make their own adult decisions. But I'm just out here to protect the people in the community that don't know their rights, don't know their civil rights, and need that extra, video backup to ensure that the cop treats them with respect. And while many of our deputies do, we've got some bad apples here in Yucaipa that wear a badge because they just think that their job is to get rid of all the drug dealers and all the, drug people and all the, keep people from filming them and keep people from showing what they're doing because they're supposed to be covert. And I don't know, man, while I'm not opposed to getting rid of the people that are stealing from other people who work hard for their shit, I'm opposed to the fishing trips where, 7 innocent law-abiding citizens are violated to catch those 3 out of the 10 that are criminals. Does that make sense? It's not right. This is America, and I'm not willing myself to give up my Bill of Rights. How you doing, sir? Yeah, I'm not willing to give up my Bill of Rights. He said hi, so I said hi back. To keep our city safe. I'm not willing to give up my Bill of Rights. I have rights. I have a First Amendment. I have a Fourth Amendment. I have a 14th Amendment to due process. So he said hi, so I said hi back. But, I'm just not willing to give up my civil rights, and I don't think anybody else should give up their civil rights just to keep the city safe. Well, you got to understand, we're doing it to get rid of the people that are out here stealing and stuff. Yeah, okay, but that guy's not. He was sitting against the wall trying to stay warm. Well, that guy's a known whatever. And they've said that, and there's been a couple of times, and I've asked people, are you on probation or parole? And they go, no, I'm not. He's just, the one guy over at the First Street Park. He said, yeah. I said, what'd they stop you for? They said I didn't have a bike light, and they told me I needed to walk my bike. He goes, and they asked me, did I have anything in my pockets? And when I had walked up, they were searching his pockets. There was 2 deputies, And then one walked over and leaned into the other one and said something. That one looked back at me and then told him to get out of there. Oh, get your hat and go. His hat was in the grass and he had to pick it up. And they said, get out of here. And then they ran to their cars. They walked, but it was very briskly. Got in their cars and drove off. And I asked the guy, I said, what'd they stop you for? Oh, they said I didn't have a bike light. And then they asked me, did I have anything in my pockets that I didn't need to have? And then they told me to get my hands up and started searching my pockets. Just out of the blue. I said, are you on probation? No, I'm not on probation or parole. He goes, in fact, I'm a CNA. I'm studying to be an RN. I work at the local clinic over here. It was 12:30 in the morning. And just because he was riding his bike with no bike light, he had to be searched and his hat thrown in the grass. You know, it's just, I don't care what anyone says in support of law enforcement. That is disrespect. That's not protecting and serving. All they could have said was, you need a bike light and you're going to go have to walk your bike home until you get a light on it because riding it on the street is unsafe, yada, yada. Are we good? All right, go home and then take off or whatever, you know? No, they had to search his pockets, throw his hat in the grass. And to me, that's disrespectful. It's unprofessional. They violated his Fourth Amendment right. I don't care if he didn't have a bike light or not, because that is a moving violation. Okay, maybe they didn't violate his Fourth Amendment right. That could be argued. But we have this thing on my job called over-verifying. If we ask for something we really don't need, that's called over-verifying. And we can receive an error on our casework for over-verifying or asking for something we don't need. So you got a guy with no bike light. Not on probation or parole, he said. I had no reason to think he's lying. CNA in a medical clinic here locally. And because he had no bike light, they're going to search his pockets. To me, that's over-verifying. You know, they should have just said, you know what? But that's why I'm out here. That's why I'm out here. Because you get deputies like that, while I understand the reasoning, I don't accept it. I don't accept it. I'm a very hard critic. I don't live in that gray area that a lot of people live in. I live in a black and white world where there's a constitution, there are laws. Now I do understand the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. I know the difference between the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. The letter of the law is what the law says. The spirit of the law is what was behind that lawmaker when he wrote that law. That's the difference. You know, the spirit of jaywalking, if there's cars coming, you wait till they pass. Or you go up to the corner and cross because there are a lot of cars. You don't want to get run over. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and there's not a car on the road, the spirit of the law says you can go ahead and just run across the street. But if a cop wants to enforce the letter of the law, he can cite you for jaywalking. You see, that's the difference. And I'm sorry I'm rambling. I'm just winging it right now, so I don't have this stuff written down. But so I don't live in that gray area, though. I live in a black and white world. While I do recognize the spirit of the law versus letter of the law, I still know that there's a Constitution. There's a First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, all the way up, 10th Amendment, 14th Amendment, whatever amendments. I won't excuse law enforcement for violating people's amendment rights just because they're trying to keep the city safe. Now, I'm not talking about probable cause, reasonable, articulable suspicion. Somebody may have committed a crime just now, or they're committing a crime. And I'm talking about a guy walking down the street. Hey, come here. You homeless? Yeah. What's in your bag? Give it here. Stand over there. And then go through their stuff. Are you on probation or parole? No. Why are you searching my bag? I search everybody's bag. That's the type of stuff that goes on in our state of California. And so we have to come out here and record it because I don't care if they're trying to catch drug dealers or fishing is a civil rights violation. Either the guy committed a crime or is committing a crime, or he's on probation or parole, or you leave him alone. But that doesn't happen. They have a thing called ped check. Sorry this video is so long, but hey, it's these guys, man. They're standing here. They have a thing called ped check, pedestrian check. And on a ped check, that's what they do. They stop people. They say, come here. And they search their bags and they search their pockets. And you can't tell me every single one of them are on probation or parole. Now, granted, some of them are arrested for having a warrant. But you can't tell me that every single one of them are. I mean, do we have that many people on probation and parole in our city? What are we like? The island of Australia? You know, what the hell's going on in Yucaipa here, man? Do we have that many people on probation and parole? You know? Well, no, but I knew he had a warrant. You didn't know anything. You saw a guy walking up the street that looked like he may be tweaking, and you stopped him. You know, we have this one girl, she, that I know, I won't say where I don't want to throw her under the bus, but there's a girl that I know that she had a stroke, and it caused blood loss, or not blood loss, blood flow problems to her brain a little bit. So she slurs basically when she talks. She kind of slurs, kind of like Dick Clark did, you know, back when he had his stroke. So she was doing a Facebook Live one day, and we were all just sitting and talking, and she slurs she had a stroke, and it caused some issues in her heart, which caused blood flow to her brain issues, you know, oxygen and all that. And so she was slurring, and people were talking about, look at this chick, man. She got kids in the background running around, and she's tweaking and on drugs right now. And I was like, wow, no, she had a stroke. But my point is, you see how quickly she was judged just because she talked different? People thought she was doing Facebook Live while on drugs or on some type of medication. No, she had a stroke, and that's the way she talked. You know? But people are so quick to judge, and sometimes law enforcement officers will do that. They'll judge somebody right away by just seeing them, and sometimes they're wrong. If they were always right, they would always arrest people. But they don't always arrest people. I've seen them go, all right, get your stuff and go. Just take off. I'm like, okay, so he doesn't have a warrant. He doesn't have anything in his bag or in his pockets. You're letting him walk up the street. So what was the reason to check him? Oh, he may have had something. Fishing trip. See if I catch something. So this guy's going to be arrested for suspicion of DUI. He's more worried about the camera than the cops. So he's being arrested for suspicion of DUI. I'm going to have to walk over here and get in my car parked literally right here. That's okay. I have all my lights are working on my car. I have current tags, registration. My tag is 2020. All my lights are working. All my tires are good. So he's going to go ahead and get his stuff. And he'll be arrested for suspicion of DUI. You know, and it's just sad, man. It has to be this way. This is a long video. I didn't know that it would be this long. I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to hit stop and let it go. Because I'm afraid if I try to edit this, it's going to cause some type of me to cut out some information, and it'll be stupid. But well, he's a jovial guy, that's for sure. Yeah, they know what car I drive anyway, so I think they put a memo out that what car I drive. So zero tolerance is my philosophy. I have zero tolerance. for DUI. Should he be found guilty? You guys saw during the FST, he almost fell over like 3 times. The cop had to reach out and balance him. So, but that's going to be it. I know they're talking about me because they keep looking back over here. Oh, do not turn your spotlight on, dude, because I'll tell you right now, I will have a problem. Did you see him turn his spotlight? It's not on right now, but he turned it. I thought he was going to flip it around here and turn it on. I would have walked around to the sidewalk and filmed back. But I have to go. I've got a low battery thing. My phone is just about to die, so I'm going to take off. We have over here Bata Clothing and Big 5 Sporting Goods. I have only been in Big 5 once. I went in there to look for a skateboard for my son for Christmas. And I didn't get him a skateboard because his older brother wanted to get him one. So, but there you go. Oh yeah, let's go check out. There's a new Mexican restaurant here. It used to be a drive-through donut shop, and they closed the donut shop. Yeah, I think it's the new Alberto's. If that's what that says. Yeah, Alberto's Mexican food on the boulevard. Yeah. This dude's dragging something. All right, guys, we're out.